Hello, gear nerds of the internet. It is follow-up Friday. You are not hallucinating. This is not the same video that I've already done for this guy. This being the Ideal Innovations Elite 80. Sort of integrated tube amp. I'm not going to go through all the specs of this. If you want to see that, go watch my first video. This is a follow-up, because in that video I had alluded to a couple of things that I was going to do. So I wanted to follow up on that. Some of the things that I said I was going to do was I was going to replace, there's a capacitor that goes from here, from the input into the volume pots. I said I was going to replace those with Aura caps. I did that. These were the original ones. Now has more expensive capacitors. Does that make the sound better? Maybe. I don't know. I also replaced, originally it had these steel input jacks. So I replaced that with gold-plated RCA input jacks. Does that make it sound better? I don't know. And then, but I can definitively say that the other thing that I did was I replaced the volume potentiometers. These ones are linear, which means that as it progresses up, it's going straight across, like a straight diagonal line, which is not the best for volume potentiometers. What you want is logarithmic or audio potentiometers, and those don't go in a straight line. They go like an exponential line. With the linear pots, as you're turning it up on a volume pot, it kind of, for whatever reason, I don't understand all the reasons for it, but on a linear pot, as you turn it up, you pretty much hit the max gain really quick. So the amount of control over your volume is really limited. And for some reason, the designer of this amp uses linear instead of audio or log or logarithmic pots. So I replaced those, and those made a huge difference. If Sid, the guy who makes these, is watching this, you should really change them to log pots, because it makes a gigantic difference. It makes this amp way more usable. So I did all of those three things at the same time, and this amp really impressed me after doing that. I found that I could run a preamp in front of this easier. I had some issues with that the first time with the way the potentiometers were. I really dig this thing. It has a lot of bass extension and highs for a tube amp. Normally the highs are kind of mellow and the bass is a little subdued. This seems to put out more bass and have more high content than the majority of tube amps that I've heard, and I've heard quite a few. This is one of the better tube amps that I've heard. That being said, I'm probably going to sell this guy. As much as I like it, I found a tube amp that I like more, and I can't really justify owning two integrated tube amps. So I think this one's going to go bye-bye. If you want to buy it, hop into my DMs, bro, and we'll talk. But it's a really great sounding amplifier. It's really enjoyable. It has a really nice three-dimensional sound. Like I said, the bass is extended, the highs are extended a little bit, which if you're a little bit sensitive to that sort of thing, then maybe this isn't for you. If you're looking for like a warm tube sound, which usually means dull on the top, well, at least that's what a lot of people tend to mean by that, this probably isn't for you. If you want something a little bit more hi-fi with more bass, more treble, or pronounced treble, and the mid-range is still good on this guy. It might be a tad recessed, but not a lot. Let me know if you're interested in this. Maybe we can work out a deal. It is a fantastic tube amp. I will include these original parts because I don't have a use for them. And maybe you want to change it. Maybe you don't believe me about these pots being better. Or maybe you want to put the original input jacks or these original capacitors. Maybe you don't like fancy capacitors. But yeah, this is a great amp. It's really nice. It's better than a lot of, maybe all of the tube amps other than my newest one, which is a Raven Nighthawk that eventually I'm going to do a review on as soon as they get back to me. Or if they don't get back to me, then I'm going to do it and then say that they don't communicate very well. But good amp. That's my follow-up. My original review was sort of mixed. I've really come around to this thing. This thing is really a really nice amp. Thanks.